I used to support with her breakfasts. And she was the one who was like spreading the gospel. It was so heartbreaking.
And this you're still in Form 1?
No, I'm in Form 2.
Oh, now you're in Form 2.
Yeah, now I'm in Form 2.
Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's been a long time we've done a one-on-one. I'm really happy I have a visitor with me today on my channel. And before we get to all this juice that we have today, kindly subscribe and like if you like such comments. Subscribe to that channel, and hopefully you get inspired, hopefully you get encouraged, hopefully you get something from this story. So today with me I have Meg, as we call her, or Maggie. And Maggie did a story on her Facebook, and I thought the story was really nice, that I would really love to have it documented for now, for the future. And yeah, so maybe before we get into everything, just tell us your name. We don't want to know your age, because they say ladies never tell people how old we are, because we never get old. We are always like sweet 16. I'm a forever 21. So you're either 16 or 21. We're always there. But anyways, maybe you can tell us your name, where you come from, and then give us a little gist of your story.
Okay, my name is Maggie, or Meg, as you said. I'm from Utawala. I stay in Utawala with my parents. My story is basically based on just a beautiful story of a young girl who has been struggling a while with taking drug medication. I was born positive, and unfortunately my biological parents, I didn't get to meet them. So I lived with the sister to my mom, who is actually my current mom. So if I say mom right now, I'm referring to her. So I've been living with ARVs for the past 23 years, but I started my medication at around 15 years. By then, the drugs were not starting them immediately, so I was on Septum. Yeah. So my story, where do I start?
How you got to know something. Sometimes when you see a young person who is HIV positive, one of the greatest things that people always want to know is, alipata aje ama ulijua aje, like how did all this journey start? Because I mean, when you were young you wouldn't know.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
So I remember when growing up, I was always the sick baby. So I was always in and out of hospital, and it became worse when I told in class 6 second term, I really told my mom I want to go to a boarding school, because I saw went to the visiting of my sister, and I saw her she was given lots of money, and she was given fruits,
so you want to
and
go to boarding so that they give you snacks.
Oh, so if you go to a boarding school, you're given money, snacks, and all these kind of things. I'm like, okay, I want to go to a boarding school. At first, my mom was hesitant. She was like, are you sure? Like, yeah, I'm sure. Like, so she was like, okay, fine, you just study for one term. I started crying going to boarding school when I was in class 5. So my mom was like, okay, when you reach class 8, you go to a boarding school. I was like, no. So she delayed it a bit till class 6. One day when I woke up, I told her I'm not going to school if it's not a boarding school.
You decided?
Yeah, I just told her I'm not going to a school, any other school, I want to go to a boarding school. Then she's like, okay, this girl is determined. So boarding school it is.
It is.
Yeah. So I went to a boarding school that was in class 6 second time in Ukambani.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I went to Ukambani. I don't know why she threw me that far.
That's why
I know I wanted a boarding school, but did she have to take me that far?
I know.
So we went to a boarding school, and as soon as she left, I regretted it. As she was leaving, like, she was like, okay, we are good. Like,
but they gave you money.
Yeah, no, not me. The money was given to the clerk.
Oh,
I wasn't allowed
so
to
they
have
never
money.
give you.
Then I'm in a primary boarding school, so I was never allowed to have money. And then it was a primary and a high school, and the high school was mixed, so money was never allowed. So the clerk was given money, and she was told, like, you know what, Mama, your daughter is in good hands. You just go home. And the moment she was leaving, she was driving off. I was like, what did I enter myself into? So things were okay. First week, things were just good. I'm just fine, like trying to catch up. But I went with my siblings, other siblings, because we were always three. So we were always like the same school, same class. So my mom didn't want to separate us. So when we wanted boarding school, we went all of us. So things seems to be fine, and we used to be only three friends, just me and my siblings, play together and hang out together. So second week, I started having severe chest aches. Like it was so severe, and I thought like, maybe it was just a cold. So I didn't report it. Then a few more days went by. Then I couldn't eat at all. I was not eating. Then that's when one of the teachers noticed. I was so scared of the teachers, so I didn't want to go. I didn't know how they're going to react. Like, we just came in the other day. Why are you getting sick now? Yeah.
Homesick.
Yeah. Maybe that was what in my mind. Like, this girl is homesick. So I didn't report. But one of the champions and I called someone, and she was like, "Are you okay?" I'm like. So when he got to feel my temperature, it was so high, so high. So I can report to the head teacher. Head teacher used to be a very good friend of ours. So I can report to the teacher, and the teacher didn't even think of like, oh, go to the matron, let them take you to the hospital. Like, let me call her mom. So my mom came and picked me, and I was taken to the hospital. I stayed home for a while again. Then after I think 3 weeks, came back to school. So this time mom sent me back with lots of fruits and so much milk. I went to school. I didn't understand why I had so much milk anyway.
And at this point, did your mom know you were sick?
Yes, she knew I was sick. She knew I was sick from 2 years.
Oh, but she had never told you?
Yeah, she never told me.
So you're the one who didn't know?
I was the one who didn't know. Okay. Like I didn't know, like I didn't understand. But you know, in class 6 you're taught about HIV. So I was like, maybe I have HIV. But I wasn't sure. But I was like praying like, I hope not.
But you know, that time you were like, I'm not sexually active, so there's no way I could have gotten HIV.
How? Yeah.
Hakuna wembe ya mtu imenikata. You know, those are the things you think about.
And then by then I still know she's my mom. Like, if I'm HIV, then she must be positive. And she's not even taking her drugs. So
I've never seen her.
Yeah, I've never seen her taking drugs. So how am I? So I like, that's just my imagination. I'm an overthinker. So overthinking was there. So I decided like, let me just brush it off. So I came back to school. Things were also good again after I think 2 weeks again, exactly 2 weeks. And I had sores all over my mouth. I couldn't talk. I couldn't brush my teeth. I couldn't eat. I was having on water. Just water. And it went like that I think for around 3 to 4 days. Then I had a desk mate, a very crazy desk mate. This guy, his name is Joseph Moya.
Joseph Moya, if you're watching,
you better watch this. Joseph Moya was the grandson to the owner of that school. It was a private school. So the owner of that school was his grandfather. So he was a rude, kind boy.
Rude, kind. Okay.
If there's something like that in this planet. So this guy, it was this mate. So he noticed like, I didn't take my breakfast, I'm not taking my lunch, and it's supper time, I'm not even taking. So he came and like, uko sawa? I'm like, I want you to talk, you know, like, if I'm talking to you, like, if I'm talking to you, talk back. I want you to speak. I'm speaking, I'm not telling you this language, uko sawa? And I'm like,
I'm okay.
Yeah. So when I said yes, he saw sores on my mouth. And he rushed out and went to see the head teacher still in his office. But unfortunately, he wasn't. So the next thing, first thing in the morning, he just came to class and waited for the chair to come. Like immediately the chair was opening his office. He came and grabbed my hand and he was like, there when I checked for Mlango. Like, I need to talk to you. Like now. He is the grandson of the owner of this school, so we have to listen to him. Yeah. So he was like, okay, I explained that's my office. Like, I don't have time for that. Let's get into that dusty office. I need to talk to you now. So we entered that office and he's like, you see this girl? You know her? She just came the other day. She's sick. Like, what's happening? So the child channeled back to me like, Margaret, what's going on?
Shida inini?
I couldn't talk. I just started crying. Because I couldn't talk. I don't know how to tell him I have sores on my mouth. Because I couldn't talk. They're so painful and they have pus. So they're very painful. So the girl was like, haongei, haizi ongea. So she has sores in her mouth and they're so bad. And she has not been eating a thing for the past 3 to 4 days. She only takes water. So she was like, how? like, why didn't you tell me? So immediately she called my mom. He called my mom, and my mom was like, sorry, number 12, but let me send the dad. And my dad was that, I don't think that way is an African. Because I think in less than 1 hour, he was there.
Oh.
Yeah, so he just came like immediately, like he was so worried because the phone call was like, pick her now. But when he came, he was like, yeah, I'm seated. I'm like, but you look fine.
Until you opened your mouth.
Like when I opened my mouth, like, God, like when did this start? Like, I was like, say language. 3 days ago. So that's when, like, my liver was written, and my siblings saw my dad coming in, and they were like, Dad, can we go with her? They wanted to come because that was when they was homesick.
Yeah.
Then they're not sick, they're just homesick.
Useful.
Yeah, like we want to come home with her, like even if it's for 1 day. And it's my dad who came. That does not tolerate that kind of nonsense. If mom came, mom could have been like,
all dads are definitely like that.
it's okay, let's go all of us.
Mtarudi
Yeah,
kesho.
mtarudi kesho ama mlale siku mbili mkab. You know, but my dad was like, nimelipa school fees. Msome ama mnataka kwenda nyumbani, mchague. Na mkienda nyumbani amrudi. So when I saw, and my dad meant what he said. So he just like, so he just told them, you stay here, I'll bring your sister tomorrow. It was a lie. They knew it was a lie. So I went direct to Aga Khan. I was given some antibiotics. 1 week later, nothing changed. I was just getting worse and worse and worse. Then my mom saw, like, she used to go to work and she's always on my dad's case, like, is Maggie okay? Is she eating? What does she take? Has she taken milk? What have you given her? She was just so stressed. So one point she decided, like, no, I'm going to go to work with her. So she used to carry me in the car, goes to work, come back. Like we used to drive around with her. Then one day we bumped into her friend, and her friend noticed me in the car. She was like, is that your daughter? I'm like, yeah. Like, what's wrong with her? She's sick. Like, my mom went out, narrated the story. I don't know what she said, but I know my story was told. Then the only thing I had was, take this guy to Nairobi Women's. So I was taken to Nairobi Women. The next day, immediately my mom called the boss and like, tomorrow I'm taking my daughter to hospital. She's very sick. So I was taken the next day. So then is where I was done my CD4. First, when I went to the doctor just, my mom narrated that story again, but not in my presence, in my absence. So I told the doctor everything, how I've been sick. So the doctor said, like, tamfanya CD4, tuone where we are at, we know where we start. So in 30 minutes, my results came back and they were like, I had 364. And the doctor was like, Mommy, you're doing a good job. And I'm like, okay, what is Mommy doing a good job at? Like, yes, we can't start her medication right now because her CD4 is okay. So keep on giving her Septin. I'm like, why are you giving me Septins? Because there's a time I was not even taking the Septins.
But did you ever wonder why am I taking Septin? Or what did your mom tell you they were for?
Everybody told this lie. I think I have chest problem.
I think Septin chest problem.
Yeah, I think everyone is told this lie. Every story I've heard, people say like, my mom used to tell me that these drugs are just to relieve you from the coughing and stuff. Hii homa, I'm like, kwani homa yangu haitaisha? Ni kukohoa yangu kwani haishangi? Even when I'm not coughing, even at times I'll tell her, hey, mommy, miss you go, this message. At one point she'll be like, it's okay, just take a break. But she really insists, like, usichukue break sana. We need to get back on the drugs,
So how many times a day do you take a Septin?
I used to take 1 times 2.
Also in the morning and
in the evening. Yeah, and they used to be so tiresome. So
they're a bit big also.
Yeah, they're a bit bigger, but not as big as they are these. So I was telling my mom, hey mom, mimi nimepona kifua hata sisi. Mpaka mimi tunasikia nikikohoa. Mimi sikohoa. I'm trying to convince her not to take these drugs, but my mom was like, no mama, meza tu. Usikuje ndakwambia siku utawacha. But then my mom, the doctor called us back in, and I can remember my mom saying, by the way, Daktari, I'm not her real mom. Her mom died when I was 2. I was like, what?
That's when you knew your mom? That
yes.
was your mom?
I'm official. That's when I'm like, where?
In class 6?
Yes, in class 6. Then I was like asking myself, this is another story for another person.
This is not your story.
Yeah, it can't be my story. Like, her mom died when she was 2 years, and the doctor was like, why did you opt like she was positive? Positive?
For what?
okay. You know, I was more confused. Then I was convinced in my head, this can't be my story. They're just talking about some random kid somewhere else. I don't know. Maybe my cousin.
Mine is done.
Yeah, mine is done. I knew a test, and and I didn't know what was CD4 is. And I didn't want to ask. But then this is not long up. Okay, I just knew it was malaria. So and then the doctor was like, why opt for that she was positive? Like, no, she was sick, she was crying, she was not playing with other kids, she was just not a normal kid. Like, you know, the way she was jumpy, she wants to touch this. She was just crying. Like, okay, so I was listening keenly, like, hey, this story looks interesting. Yeah, so we sat there, then the doctor was like, it's okay. For now, let's continue giving her Septrin. Like, who is given Septrin? More Septrin. You know, but so I was given the antibiotics again for the sores in the mouth, and I think in 3 days I was okay. I could take mashed potatoes, at least, but no salt. In about 1 week and a half, I could now take food with salt. My mouth was cleared and stuff, and also much relief. Then I remember I stayed home for a while, like for a very long time. It was so long.
And this time classes are still on.
Classes are still on, and it reached a point I asked my mom, mom, kwani nili drop out? Cause nimekaa nyumbani sana. No, it's enough. My mom like, utaenda, nakupeleka. I'll take you to school myself. Like, mommy, I've stayed home for a very long time. See, we'll go back. I miss them. Like,
even miss school.
I miss my school. I miss my sister and my brother, Frank and Baby. Like, I miss them. I'm like, yeah, they called me. They asked me if you're okay. I'm like, and why didn't you let me talk? Like, you were sick when they called. So that night we called the HR. I want to talk to them. Then we talked. Then they're like, I really miss you. Come back. When are you coming back? I'm like, imagine this mommy was refusing me to come. I want to come. So when mommy got tired of that nagging, like, I've left you to God. I've left everything to God. And I pray so if I take you back to school, you not come back worse. If you're coming back, I can just come back, come up with a go to Sisana. Yeah. You know. So I went back to school and this CD4 thing was just in my mind. I even wrote something that I cannot forget. So it was like CD4. So there's this day, our science teacher was a very strict old man. He was very old and he was very strict. So there's this day he came in and he was in a very good mood and like, yes, this is the day to ask him about CD4. So I went, he liked basking on the sun. So I went and asked him, excuse me, sir, can I ask you a question? Like, yes, you can ask me. Like, it was like, what do you want to ask that you do? You know, I used not to talk to class in class. So it's like, okay.
Why didn't you ask in class?
Yeah, why ask me
outside?
Yeah, like then it was like, can you wait to ask during my lesson so that others can learn to me? Like, no, it's not even science related. I just want to ask something I heard somewhere. Then like, okay, go ahead. Like, have you ever heard of CD4? And I'm like, yes, I know what CD4 is. I'm like, can you tell me what CD4 is? Innocently, he just told me CD4 is done on patients mostly who are affected with HIV, and that's when I knew I was HIV positive. So I was confused. I'm like, God, he said mostly, meaning people are negative can also
maybe I can be on the positive, on the negative side.
Yeah,
it's a possibility.
I'm like, but all these symptoms, all this sickness, then there's this CD4. I'm still, my mind was like, no, I'm just positive. So I knew I was positive. That's when I knew I was positive. So I just went in class, sat in.
How did that affect you at that point?
I was confused. I was very much confused.
But then you're still convincing yourself that there's that 5%.
Not even 5. I think it was like a 0.01%.
That you may not be.
Yeah, may not be. But I was, in my mind, I was 99.99%. Like, all this falling sick, all this getting fruits and milk and stuff.
No, it makes sense.
Yeah, it all makes sense. Why I'm taking Septrin each and every single day, I'm taking drugs. Like, I was just convinced I was positive. So I just went to bed that day. Like, if I'm positive, I just told myself, Maggie, if you're HIV positive, accept yourself, embrace it, and let nothing bother you. I told myself that. So I went.
That you're in class 6?
I was still in class 6. So it was just in and out of school, class 7, in and out of school, class 8. I was just used to it. I'm like, I'm positive. So it became a norm. But and I became serious with the Septrin. maybe septin will make me negative.
Yeah, because at that
Somehow.
point you never know.
Yeah, somehow. So I knew like, somehow I'll be negative maybe when I go to high school. So I was okay, like class 8, even I did my exams. I got sick, but during that week, but I was strong enough to write my exams. So when I went to Form 1, I think around 3rd term, I became sicker. Now this one, I think it was now me and God, like God, here I am.
Yeah, even a kawaya,
Yeah, yeah, like ukiniachilia tu hivi mimi naenda nakutana na wewe sasa kusalimia one on one. We have this conversation vizuri
face to face.
Yeah, I was so sick and I remember nilipelekwa hosi and my CD4 was taken again. But after not immediately, I was taken to hospital, given some drugs, got better. Then my mom was like, it's time, she knows. So I can remember the night before, that night they were discussing with my dad, like, who's going to take me? Who'll be behind that room? My dad was like, I don't think I can take that. I don't think I know. Maybe count me out.
Especially if you are daddy's girl.
Yeah, my dad was like, I know, maybe count me out. Maybe I'm taking no one. Maybe I'm taking no kid anywhere. No, especially not Maggie. And I'm like, son, I'm like, where is somebody mama yake wende? Like, me can't take that pain too. So they were debating. I thought I was asleep, but our bedroom and their bedroom is got close. They are like next to each other. So I could hear and it's like
everything.
Yeah, so it's like 11 in the evening. So they're like, siamelala, so we can just talk well. And you know my dad has a very sauti kubwa. Hajui kuwhisper. Like, my dad like, mimi sitaki. Me hata sitaki kuona vile react. So I was just smiling on the bed. And like, so after nikajua like Sandra was 110% sure. I give you a positive.
It was me.
Yeah, it was me. I'm not in that circle, that
1%.
I'm in this 99.
Mostly you're in the mostly.
Yes, I'm in the mostly.
I know.
So then my mom was like, so we send Winnie. Winnie is their second one. So like, we can send Winnie. Winnie was old. Winnie was like, she had cleared her school, her high school. She was already in college working. And Winnie, like, we can send Winnie. And I was like, okay, sure. Like, do you have any? So my mom was like, do you have anyone else in mind? We can send. And I'm like, oh, it's okay. So the next day, my mom woke me up like, tunaenda hospitali, like, kufanya, you know, I'm pretending like I don't know what's happening. Kufanya, like, nataka tu kupeleka tu hospitali, like, mimi I'm okay. So I was pretending to be kind of hard. Like, mami, I'm fine. I'm not sick. I'm not even feeling pain. Like, even touch me, my temperature is good. My mom was like, you say let me go to the hospital. Like, okay, I'll go. So I went to the hospital, my mom dropped us. And like, when you are dropping us, you're not going to the hospital with me. Like, you know, Daddy and I needs to rush somewhere. We'll come back for you. I'm like, sawa. So I went to a public hospital, which was so weird. Like, mommy takes me to a private hospital. Why maybe take it to a public hospital? Yeah, so I was just connecting those to those. Like, oh, maybe this thing is done best in a public hospital. So I went to Hosi and we came in and my sister was asked, like, what's going on? My sister was just there whispering, think I'm not hearing. So I was just pretending that to be like a fool. You know, I was in Form 1 and I was very tiny, really tiny when I was in Form 1. So they're just there staring at the things written all over. You know, when you get to this person,
You start reading
yeah,
all those charts.
And then they're all HIV related.
Oh God.
Yeah, they're all HIV related. So I was just reading. I'm like, so this is where I'll be taking my drugs. All I can see the cabinets are there. I can see some boxes, so many drugs. I'm like,
You see the liver there.
Yeah, I'm seeing the youth whatever. Youths are being cancelled there. I'm like, so 3 doctors came in and they're like, maybe sasa, and I'm like, poa sana. But I was like, muna nyinyi mnaendeleaje huku? You know, I was so talkative. Daktari akacheka like, what? Huyu tutamwambia aje sasa? How are we going to break her heart?
I know.